Welcome to Brew Crime, the podcast where we drink brews, talk crime, conspiracies, or whatever catches our attention. This is Mike and my co-host.
JT.
You sound so excited, JT.
No, it just, I don't know. I felt like a big old sigh. Hopefully that endears me to whoever's listening. You can sigh along with me, Um, in the States, it's a given. You're definitely endeared to me. If you're in the world and you focused on the States, you're definitely endeared to me. So, it's fine. It's all fine. It's burning. Everything's burning around us. It's fine.
Yes, exactly. And we have our special guest again this week.
Oh, hello. I'm Llama. Thank you for having me.
Thanks for being back.
Thank you.
I almost said and she doesn't spit, but that leads into some odd questions.
Sometimes I do. Sometimes I do. Well, thank you for having me again. Appreciate it. That's how I got on the show a second time. I threatened it.
Absolutely.
Oh man, well, it's a good thing things are burning around us because we're about to hop back into the sea.
Yes, we sure are. And I titled this Murder on the High Seas. And this doesn't take place in the 1800s. This takes place in the 2010s.
Oh geez. Oh boy.
You know what I was thinking? That they call it Maritime, but this does not sound like a Maritime.
No.
Like at all. These stories have not been full of Mary.
A little salty, but not merry.
A little salty, mostly tastes a little irony. There's a lot of irony. A lot of irony.
Yep. All right. Well, the beer pairing for this one I've picked from Camp Brewing Company. It's the Voyager because, of course.
Clever.
And it's a tart pear farmhouse ale.
Ooh.
It's 4.7% alcohol, and it's a little bit sour and tastes like pear and easy drinking.
We have it in a fancy glass and everything.
Always.
Cheers.
Oh yeah, nobody describes a beer like Mike describes a beer.
And I'm feeling lazy today.
He is, yeah, right? Usually he's talking about the lace on the top and the head.
Yes.
Always talking about the head.
Oh, wow. This
Lots
is
of driving
provocative.
today.
It's never just the tip. He talks about the whole thing.
The mouthfeel and everything?
The mouthfeel, the whole getting... He doesn't spit. Just saying. That is a crime against alcohol manity.
Oh,
okay. All right. Well, let's get into this. Once you leave international waters, the ocean is a scary-ass place. Maritime law is patchy, as most states do not follow the same rules, and also people just do not report crime that happened.
I mean, why would you?
Yeah, right? Violent murder is rampant, and it has been thought that about 32,000 people were killed each year in violent situations on the world's oceans, international waters.
32,000?
Yes.
Wow. Okay.
Much of this is in the fishing industry, and it makes the industry one of the most dangerous ones on the planet. Fish, which is a safety foundation, works to make the ocean safer, and with their new research, the new estimate for violent deaths come to 100,000 per year, noting that would be 300 per day. And these are not just dying because you fall off a boat. These are violent crimes.
It's called fish?
Yes, yeah.
Does it stand for anything?
I'm sure it does, and I didn't write it down.
That's fine. I mean, I'm impressed they were able to find an acronym that spelled out fish. I mean, somebody get me their creative director.
100,000 people a year. Wow.
Fish Safety Foundation website.
Watch it just as fish. That's it. It's just fish. It's a conversation starter.
Right.
No, it's not. I don't think, because the acronym is FSF. Fish Safety Foundation. So yeah, no, it's just their name.
Fish.
Because it's about the fishing industry, I guess.
I mean, I guess
Clever.
they just took out the I.
Yeah. But like I said, these are not accidents. These are violent altercations. One thing that really pushes these death numbers higher is the amount of forced labor in fishing, which sounds to be a major issue in many Asian countries and possibly some African nations as well. But that didn't come up in this case, but it was kind of alluded to. Many ships stay out at sea for a long time, with ships picking up the catch and fueling the ships up in the sea so that the crew is unable to leave the ship.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
They got all that money on there.
It's hard to fuck off if you can't get to see the shore, right?
True.
It's just hard to fuck off on a ship.
It's true.
You just got to make the motion work with you. Okay, keep going. Sorry.
Another serious issue to deal with when out on that far off the coast is piracy. Piracy is rampant, especially when close to Somalia, as it is unfortunately a failed state, from my understanding, that hasn't really recovered since the Civil War in the 1990s.
I just imagine like two Somalis just like listening to this podcast going, hey.
Well, I mean, what was Somalia is like Somaliland, and a bunch of other things.
Mm-hmm.
So they fish this area of the Indian Ocean because it is rich fishing grounds for tuna. So it's dangerous
Okay.
as fuck, but tuna. And
You can tune a piano,
never
but you
been-
can't tune a fish.
yeah, if you've ever been to a sushi restaurant, you know that it's popular.
Ahi, ahi.
Due to the piracy, most fishing vessels that go far out into the open ocean that run between Africa and Asia hire armed security. To make that point, in a 4-year span, there were 780 pirate attacks.
Wow.
Are the requirements for that security an eye patch and a peg leg?
No, but it seems like a lot of them come from Pakistan. So it's like you come
Ah.
from this one country.
So still a very long R.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, many hire Pakistani security who were outfitted with AK-47s or Kalashnikovs.
That escalated quickly.
Right? September 2012 would be a terrible day for a crew of a ship in the Indian Ocean. Months after the attack, a Fijian fisherman boarded a boat that was docked in Fiji, where he would be shown a grainy video of people in the water being killed while clinging on to wreckage of a boat.
Jesus.
Oh, no.
The video would start to spread through fishing ships all over the Pacific. In August of 2014, a university student in Fiji would end up with the video as her cousin, who was a police officer, would email her the video. I don't know why he sent the video to her, but she would upload it to YouTube with a cover story about how she got the video.
I'm uploading it for a friend.
So her cover story, and the one that was reported in most of the sources, is that she found the video on a cell phone that was left in a taxi,
Okay.
which is completely untrue.
Who leaves a cell phone?
Drunk people. Yeah.
Fair.
What year was this again, Mike? I'm sorry. I think I missed that.
2014.
Okay. So we're in modern
Yeah.
times. Okay.
I don't know. That was 10 years ago. We were
Yeah,
all
that cell phone in 1800.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
I
yeah.
mean, that's fair.
A Nokia.
While this story was bullshit, she might have been telling that just so that she could show the truth of what happened, kind of as a warning to fishermen. You know, it's scary to just being shot in the water.
Yeah.
So Fijian police would open an investigation, but it wouldn't take long for them to decide that they had no jurisdiction, as it didn't happen in Fijian waters, and the people in the video were not speaking a native language to Fiji, so
Fiji, try harder.
closed. All right. So it wouldn't take long for the international news to forget about the story also, which always happens.
News cycle.
Yep. This is when TMT would get involved. For all of us out there that have no idea what TMT is, that's Trig Mat Tracking, a Norwegian nonprofit who specializes in vessel tracking and intelligence.
Cool.
So they use this research to look into illegal fishing operations and broader fisheries crimes. So they would open a forensics investigation in October of 2014. So let's go back a little bit here and talk about the actual crime. Like I stated, sometime in September of 2012, there was an attack on the open ocean between Somalia and I think this is Seychelles, I think is how you pronounce it. It's Seychelles.
Is it Seychelles? Is it?
Might be, yeah. It's an island nation in Africa.
Yeah.
So it's made up of 115 islands off the eastern coast of Africa.
I didn't even know there was that many islands.
Yes, right?
Wow.
So a group of 4 fishing vessels likely working together to protect each other and likely working almost like a gang would come upon a ship. That other boat was fishing when 3 of the other 4 ships came upon it. The ship would be rammed and would sink. The entire crew of the boat would be in the water struggling to grab onto debris. The captain on one of the ships would order the armed security guard to shoot the pirates in the water. Between 5 and 15 men were killed in the water, shot with no remorse.
And that's what we call seafaring justice.
So I've seen some of this video, and you can see a man being sprayed with bullets and then blood blooming from the location. It's awful.
Hmm.
After the shooting, the deckhands took selfies holding the murder weapons. It's really gross to see.
Wow.
You can find these pictures online. Most of the guys' faces are blurred out. But yeah. So at TMT, Duncan Copeland, the executive director, would lead his team to break the video down into still images. They look the railings, the position of windows, the design of the trim, and cross-check them against images of other fishing vessels. They'd made a database of tens of thousands of reference photos. It would turn out 3,000 of these photos would help in this case.
Wow.
This search would narrow down the search of the shooters in this video to one of 300 boats, which is a pretty good, shortening of the list. 300 boats isn't that many.
No, that's impressive math.
Yeah. They were then able to work it down to the most likely ship being the Ping Shin 101 out of Taiwan. When Cranston von Hoslin, a Canadian from Ontario, saw this video, it aided him. He knew that he had to start digging into the case. At this time, he worked for Rish Intelligence, a firm in Europe, and he was the hostage and hijacking negotiation expert. In 2016, he would go off on his own as an independent detective for marine piracy and the likes. This guy just decides, like, fuck this, I'm looking into this. And it's pretty impressive. Film crew in hand for a show he was helping work on called Lawless Ocean. He started to investigate the case. TMT had already found much of the preliminary intelligence around the footage by this point, with the help of Human Rights at Sea and Greenpeace. Cranston would reach out to Duncan at TMT and would start to work on finding more evidence and hopefully a confession from a person that took the shots. So TMT had figured out that the closest ship to the Ping Shin 101 at the time of filming was the Chennai 217, a Taiwanese fishing vessel. Greenpeace found a common operation office between 2 of the ships in Taiwan. So they're slowly piecing together all of this information. Cranston would then identify another ship in the Chennai 628, a ship that was flagged to the Seychelles or whatever you said it might be, JT.
Seychelles?
Seychelles, but that also had a tie to Taiwan.
Oh, interesting.
Taiwan was known to have a lot of illegal dealings in the fishing industry at this time, so these findings were not surprising. Like a lot of the issues with like almost slave labor in fishing and all that, a lot of it was coming out of Taiwan. So the 4th ship would not be identified for quite a while, as it was the furthest out from the Ping Shin. In March 2016, Cranston would begin to search registries for Taiwanese ships that had the Seychelles fishing licenses, because each area of the open ocean seems to have still a fishing license. He would search photos on Facebook for known crew members of the ship. He would finally pinpoint the Ping Shin 101, and he was hoping to track down the ship and look for some clues. Unfortunately, the ship sank in 2014. What may have been suspicious circumstances. So I don't know if they were trying to hide.
Convenient.
Yeah, right. Who knows? But the ship is no longer around. So Cranston would reach out to Angela Hunt, as she worked for a shipping company who owned the cargo carrier that rescued the crew of the Ping Shin 101 when it sunk. He requested a list of the crew members that were saved, and while she at first was unwilling to talk, she would talk to her boss and then he would give permission. So when he arrived in Athens, where the company was based, he would arrive with the film crew, and she was turned off by this. She was worried about his intentions. So after some back and forth, he would get rid of the film crew and to meet with her at the cafe. Here, she would leave a file on the table when she went out for a smoke. He would take a photo of the file before she finished the cigarette. This list would confirm all of the crew members at the time of the sinking and was a good start. So it didn't have the
Wow.
captain's name, but it had the whole crew.
They're being like really good detectives.
Yes, right?
Wow.
With no actual law enforcement involved.
No.
So she may have been leery at first about handing over information, but she got sucked into the investigation, would pour every spare minute she could while she was still working full time after just getting back to work after maternity leave. So she was a busy woman, but she was putting a lot of time into this too. So Angela and Cranston would bounce information off of each other on WhatsApp. And this was just a great way to bounce off ideas and, try to figure out where to go next. One thing that they were able to find was that the Ping Shin 101 was involved with another attack on a ship in 2010.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, right. They rammed an Indonesian ship during a coordinated attack with two other ships. They claimed it was all an accident, but the footage would also end up on YouTube.
How are they like filming stuff?
Crew members going like, what the fuck is going on here?
I can sometimes not even get service just walking down the street. Like, how are they
Well,
getting this in the middle
Well,
of
it's
the
just
ocean?
they're filming it in the ocean and then it
Oh, yeah,
gets
that's
out
true.
after. Yeah.
I guess that makes sense.
Steven Spielberg pops out and is like, hold on, I gotta get the shot.
Yeah.
Unintended.
So they finally found Alden, a crew member at the time of the attack, through Facebook. He was a Filipino fisherman and was one of the people photographed holding a gun. At the time of the attack in 2012, he was 26 years old. He would tell them that the captain of the ship was a very violent man who would kick and punch any crew member that screwed up at all. And that was like losing a fish even. He also drank a ton.
Shocking.
Yeah, right?
Right. Right. And snorted cocaine.
Yeah. I also find it wild. He did not know the name of the captain. He only knew him as his nickname, Captain Hoodlum.
Captain Hoodlum.
Hoodlum.
Yep.
Wow.
All right.
I
All
don't know if
right.
that's the best pirate name, but okay.
Yeah, right.
Also, I'm trying to think of what it would be like on cocaine on a boat in the middle of the ocean. Seems like a bad idea.
Very bad idea.
A very bad idea. The humidity, it's going to do things.
That's your first. I would just be like, I'm locked on this boat. I can't go anywhere.
There's a couple of like scary looking security dudes holding like AKs just standing around.
Do you see that, man? Do you see that? Is it just me?
So during this interview with Alden in the Philippine city of Manila, they would discuss the incident. Alden would start talking about the attack and say that it was during the night and they had searchlights on searching for targets. Of course, Cranston was confused as the video was of a daytime attack. This would turn out to
Right.
be an attack the week before.
Wait, is this the third or the second one? The one you mentioned, the other one.
This is the third attack. The first one was in 2010.
Holy shit. Oh my god.
Yes.
They've gone rogue.
Right? Not really. This just seems to be what they do there.
Oh, well, Batman and whatnot.
The Ping Shin 101, along with three other vessels, would circle I think it's pronounced a dough, DHOW. It's a small fishing boat and ram it one at a time until it sunk.
Do they just do this just for fun? Because it doesn't seem like they're taking anything from these people.
Seems like it, yes.
Wow, that's so effed up.
So the fishermen in the water would yell out, "No Somali," to say that they were not pirates. This was heard by another member of the offending boat named Maximo, another Filipino man. He saw the captain come down from the bridge level and yell at two of the guards to shoot the men in the water. When they hesitated, the captain grabbed the gun and started shooting. After a bit, the captain would head back to the bridge and back over one of the surviving fishermen.
What the fuck? What the fuck?
Right? Yeah. Once they had killed everyone and scanned the waters to ensure that fact, they would leave the scene.
Wow.
Right?
Captain Hoodlum is not going to make the next
No.
Pirates of the Caribbean movie.
He
Depends
might.
on if Amber Heard is involved. One thing can be said: Captain Hoodlum definitely shit the bed on this one.
Yeah, yeah. Maximum would then tell them about the second attack that the video depicted. He would discuss how they once again rammed the Doe boat that had been fishing in the same region where they killed the last crew. This time it was the Ping Shin 101 that did the ramming. This time all 4 ships would shoot the men in the water who had also yelled out that they were not pirates. Aldrin would mention that he believed there had been between 30 and 40 men killed between the 2 attacks in his estimate.
Wow.
So Cranston would be quoted as saying, "I knew the body count would go up," but he admitted during his interview with Aldrin that I never imagined 30 people.
It's a lot more than 30, though.
And then Cranston would ask, "Were they shooting at you?" And Aldrin said no. So during the cross-referencing of photos of the Doe, he noticed a blurry flag on one of the boats. He was able to conclude that the ship was either from Somaliland or very likely Iran. He was not able to go to Iran, but hired a fixer who was able to get in touch with the boat builder, Rahim Babak, and he stated that the 2 boats were the Hamdi and the Nasari, and they had been missing since 2012.
How do you
So-
get the job called the fixer?
A fixer is usually someone that's in a less safe country that will help either get you in or get you information.
Oh, okay.
So, like, if you want to go to a war zone, you'll hire a fixer to get you in there, and they'll usually try to keep you alive.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
I'm glad you answered first because I was going to say, don't ask questions you don't want the answers to. But that sounds a little
Well,
more reasonable.
I actually I only really know about fixers because of Robert Evans from the Behind the Bastards podcast, because he was literally in, well, what country was it that fell?
The United States?
He's there currently.
I'm kidding.
Oh no, I forget what Middle Eastern country it was, but he was there when like the government fell during the war. So he's dealt with a lot of that.
Interesting. Okay.
I was really hoping you'd be like, because I am one.
No, too scared to do that. So the fixer was told that the crew mostly came from across the border in Pakistan. So he would again get a fixer, as he was able to get a visa to go there either. This fixer would find family members of the men that likely were on the ships and find out while they were fishing, they were possibly drug runners as well, moving heroin to Kenya and Tanzania. The drugs would be packaged up with the fish and shipped off to Europe. But I see no indication that they actually were able to find the names of the fishermen. So I think they found the villages they came from and possible family members, but they wouldn't actually say who they were. So Aldrin and one other crew member of the Ping Shin had said that the ship had made a stop in Mombasa, Kenya after the attacks. So this meant that Cranston had to head there next. He'd be led into a room by customs officers where he would be presented with hundreds of thousands of crew lists strewn all over the place. Like no filing systems, no nothing.
Wow.
So somehow he found the crew list for the Ping Shin 101, but it was a carbon copy and it was very faded. I didn't read if he stole this, but he took the document back to his room and put a towel over it and ironed it. And when it dried out with the hairdryer, it turned black, and he would be able to read it faintly and get the passport number, birth date, and the name of the captain of the ship.
Huh.
Which is amazing.
Nicely done, 007.
So he had Wang Feng Yu of China's details,
Excuse you.
right?
Wang-
So
These people are amazing. So
No
far.
wonder
Right?
Hoodlum went by Hoodlum. His name was Wang Fang. I'm not sure he could pick anybody up on Tinder with a name like that.
right?
Swipe
Grinder, maybe.
for sure, Grinder in Minnesota during the I mean, yes, for sure, Grinder, definitely. I'm sorry, there's a Chinese opera singer named Wang Feng, which is probably Wang Fong, but everybody knows. They know. They know.
The craziest part here is like he started this whole investigation in 2016, right?
Mm-hmm.
Cranston had finished filming his show in late 2016, but he got a tip that Wang Feng Yu was in Victoria's Port, the capital city of Seychelles or whatever, the island nation of Africa. So this is all in 1 year.
Wow. That's
Please
impressive.
don't move this fast.
No, across like international waters and countries and all
Yeah.
of that stuff. That's amazing.
So Wang was now the captain of the Chen Sing 668. Using a Chinese detective agency, he was able to get a phone number for Wang. So using an interpreter, he would call pretending to work for a company that deals with piracy threats. He would offer him a job and ask about his experience with pirates. In the hour-and-a-half phone call, he would brag about his attacks on ships, although he would claim that they shot first.
Always that excuse. Always. Just like Han, but whatever.
Exactly. On shot first. He would say that the security guys wanted to call it in and just took a gun and started shooting. So in a month, Cranston would this time meet with Wang and film their meeting with permission. This time it was in Colombo, Sri Lanka. The meeting would have two friends of Cranston call in via Skype, pretending to be directors at the fake shipping company.
Okay.
So the next part comes from the interview. So this is a quote. I found this video and I'd like you to walk me through it, he said, gesturing at the YouTube footage on his laptop. Remember you told me about this, Cranston added, referring to the earlier call with Wang confessing to shooting the Doe's crew. Wang scrutinized the screen and asked for the vessel number of the other longliners. Cranston identified the ships and asked, was the Chang'ai 2017 also attacking? Wang clarified all four longliners were taking action together. He knew the captain of the Chang'ai 217. He was older, around 70. They were like brothers. Cranston asked about the Doe. Who were these guys? And he claimed that they were a smuggling ship, described little packages he saw floating amid the wreckage. He believed the packages contained TNT, but Cranston later learned that they were likely heroin. And then, quote, and who was shooting these peoples? Cranston asked. It was the security guard, said Wang, hoping for another confession. Cranston prodded him for more, asking the captain if he had to shoot anyone himself. Question made Wang visibly uncomfortable. After a while, and the translator replied, he seems not to want to answer this.
You don't need a translator for that.
Right?
Why
Jeez.
would they use the TNT? Like you're ramming, like weren't you worried then that it was going to explode when you're shooting at it and ramming it? Get out of here.
I highly doubt they're good shots.
You'd think so, right?
It's like shooting fish in a barrel. I'm sure it's fine.
See, and that's
Yeah.
why fish should be a different name.
Right? So June of 2017, Cranston would meet up with Wang again, this time wearing a hidden camera. And this time he would tell Wang who he actually was.
Oh,
He would falsely claim that he was working with the Hong Kong police. And likely because of this, Wang would agree to an interview up in Cranston's room. This actually sounds dangerous for Cranston. Like,
Yeah.
Would you like to come up to my room and see my etchings?
we know this guy was involved with murdering a bunch of people. So he would claim that he didn't kill anyone and didn't order the murder, even though he had already admitted to it previous 2 times.
and this is the guy that has like the picture of his face. With
No,
the gun,
those were the
right?
crew members. Those are the crew
Okay.
members. This is actually the captain.
Okay.
So he would now give the identity of the last ship, also the Liao Yun Yu 99. It would be the first to ram the boat and cause it to sink in one of the videos, one of the attacks. Cranston would play the second attack video to Wang and he would respond, quote, at that moment, our ship was very close to that ship, he said, noting that the Doe's crew members were swimming towards the longliners. Probably looking for rescue, he added. quote, I still firmly believe they were pirates, and we fear pirates very much. And then, quote, but they don't have guns, said Cranston. Wang admitted that the Does didn't produce guns. So it's like, he didn't think they were pirates.
Yeah, these guys don't seem like they're scared of very much.
No.
I do not think rescue means what you think it means.
You keep using that word.
Yeah.
Yes.
right?
Sort of like people use freedom. Don't understand the word. Cranston would tell Wang that he was tracking him through his passport and would be watching. He had no legal recourse to arrest him, though, as he was not working with any police forces. So he would write a report with all of the evidence and send it to the Chinese federal police, as all 4 captains were Chinese. And one of the vessels was also flagged to China. They would never respond.
Surprise. Oh my goodness.
Right? In the end, it would be Taiwan that would arrest Wang Fengyu on August 22nd, 2020, a whole 6 years after the 2 attacks.
Wow.
Isn't that nuts?
That is nuts.
Cranston didn't expect Taiwan to get involved as they had already washed their hands previously. So he fought to get the evidence that he had amassed into the hands to refute any self-defense claims. In January 2021, 3 judges would convict Wang of homicide related to weapons and give him 26 years in prison. And a note that I read, they don't actually have juries there. There is no jury system. It's just judges.
It worked really well for Dudley and the other folks
Yeah.
from my case.
Wang was only charged with killing 4 people of the possible 34 victims, and so far no other captains have been charged. In 2022, Wang's sentence would be reduced to 13 years in prison in an appeal.
Okay.
Right? So Cranston von Hoesslin now lives in British Columbia with a very different career path, as he is an avalanche forecaster, ski guide, and technical rescue instructor.
Avalanche forecaster. That's a job I've never heard of before. That's pretty cool.
It's pretty important here.
It's like the weatherman, Ollie the weatherman. It's gonna snow.
Yeah. He does still take on some freelance detective work in the outdoor industry here. One day he would like to go after the captains of the Chennai 217 and the Laoyun U-99, but time and money are always an issue. The captain of the Chennai 628 already passed in March of 2013 when he electrocuted himself accidentally. So yeah, that's the case of the 3 attacks on just random ships in the Indian Ocean.
That's
Wow.
ridiculous.
Right?
And that must go on all the time. Like that's
Well, their average. What was the estimate? 100,000 a year?
yeah.
It's
Yeah.
like the ocean's the Wild West.
Yeah, it is. Really is.
Yes.
And I mean, it's no safer now. Lots of navies out there causing trouble.
Take that, John Wang.
John
Right?
Wang. Shut up.
That's
That's amazing. He's Captain
Oh my.
Hood Dumb now.
Right?
Well, that
Oh,
was
my.
that was a riveting story, Mike. Thank you for
Thank you.
sharing that. I did not know about any of that.
Neither did I until I found this case to write about, because when JT recommended this theme, I'm like, oh shit. Because while there is a shit ton of crime on the ocean, there's not a lot that's actually reported.
Yeah. This seems like a really untapped like thing that people should pay attention, like Cranston. You know?
But
Yeah.
don't listen if you're listening. Don't listen if you're listening. Good God, who am I? Don't start another podcast. We don't need one. So yeah,
a maritime podcast.
Ah, yes, a merry time.
Maritime. Perfect. And that's the host's name.
But yeah, if it wasn't for like, was it MTM? Was that the
MTV?
no TMT and then Cranston there? This would never have been cracked.
No.
Well, listen, Bryan Cranston, when he sees something, he goes for it.
That's what I thought about this whole time, was how his name sounds like that. And then there were drugs involved, and I couldn't think of any clever like Walter White jokes. But I was
Had,
trying to
like-
think this whole time.
Oh,
Oh, Walter
okay, yeah.
Whitewater.
I never watched that show. I tried.
Oh,
I just kept
Yeah.
imagining all the boats like they were in like the Cars universe. Like, what are you doing to me, man? Why am I running into this guy? Don't make me back up. I can't control it.
Shooting tiny little pleasure crafts.
You know,
It's a
that
different
sounds
movie.
dirty.
Oh my. On that note, thanks for tuning in to Brew Crime. You can find us on all social media platforms at Brew Crime. We have a Facebook group at Brew Crime the Group. If you'd like to support the show, head to patreon.com/brewcrime now. Money goes towards upgrading equipment and making the show that much better. You get one bonus episode a month, as well as early ad-free access to our episodes. Shout out to our Patreon supporters, True Crime Nana, 3 Beers In, and the faves of our lives. Bye.
You never know where we're going to go in this podcast, but
Mhm.
one thing's for sure. We always end with semen.
jeez. Bye. Thanks for having me.
Drop anchor.
All cases in Brew Crime are written by Mike and JT or a writer we credit on the episode, and sources are put into our show notes for each episode. We always want to give credit to the people that research the cases we talk about. Check out our store at tpublic.com/stores/brew-crime-podcast, where you can purchase gear like t-shirts, phone cases, stickers, pillows, and all kinds of other cool stuff. Brew Crime's intro was created by Mike using Creative Commons Attribution licensed audio from purple-planet.com, soundbible.com, and freesoundeffects.com. Logo designed by Ben Greenberg. Thanks for listening to this episode of Brew Crime Podcast.
Listen up, true crime fans. I have a podcast that you won't want to miss. A heartfelt show that focuses on lesser known crimes from around the globe called Our True Crime Podcast.
All right,
I'll tell
buckle
you.
up. I guess we
All
gotta
right,
put our
ready?
seatbelts on. We gotta go.
Every week, hosts Jen and Cam will guide you through a new case backed up by meticulous research and delivered with the utmost respect for victims and survivors. Cases like the fatal exorcism of Joan Vollmer,
Yes, eyes can turn red and appear to glow from increased adrenaline
Oh.
and blood flow.
I did not know that.
and the Haynes family massacre.
I'm
parents-
almost afraid to hear it.
As a parent, I don't even know. I don't know.
You'll not only learn about the cases, you'll feel like you're part of a conversation with witty, lifelong friends. That's what truly makes this our true crime podcast. So, whether you're a true crime aficionado
I thought you might say that. I was hoping anyway.
or a casual listener,
That's a baseball team, Jen, if you didn't know.
Oh, I figured it was some kind of sports ball thing.
sit down and join us for our true crime podcast. Listen on your favorite podcast apps today.
It's a Sunday. I'm sitting in a dark, dark room talking to my best buddy about.
Crime.
That's right.
So this is 3 separate.
No, you can talk.
Mhm.
It's fine.
No, you're fine.
It's okay.
It's
Yeah,
got
three
three
sec-
audio tracks, and I can edit them all.
Oh,
Yeah, it's three
Actually, it's
episodes.
4 because
Four with 2025.
well,
if we do
just
it.
4. I'm just saying 4 audio tracks, so
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
okay.
I can edit this all. All this audio.
Cool.
Yes. All right.
I'm so happy I
Oh,
signed up
my.
for this.
I was just trying to make you
Uh,
feel at home.
Yes, I
Exactly,
do feel
right?
at home. I do feel at home. Thank you.
About. Come on, someone tell if it's an acronym.
I mean, but like you end up getting the whole idea of like flopping around like a dead fish stuff.
They were fishing when that dinner tracked down some of the Maximo would then tell them about most likely came 27 or 2000